Coming up, we bring you an update on an investigation into a UI fraternity.
And I'm here in the newsroom to break down the biggest art and culture moments of 2018.
DITV Sports hits the streets to see what students think about the football team's bowl game matchup.
Now, one region in our country is experiencing some pretty treacherous conditions. Find out where and whether.
All that and more coming up on this Thursday morning edition of DITV.
Don't go anywhere. DITV starts right now.
Good morning and thank you for tuning in to this Thursday, December 13th edition of DITV. I'm Mackenzy Cooper.
And I'm Susanna Klooster.
University of Iowa fraternity Kappa Sigma is no longer registered as a student organization. This comes after an investigation into the fraternity when allegations of hazing were reported. In November, Kappa Sigma was placed under suspension along with 11 other UI fraternities. In an email to the fraternity and sorority life community, UI Vice President for Student Life Melissa Sivers said, quote, "The UI has a rich fraternity and sorority life culture, and we will not allow the positive impact of most of the community to be overshadowed or undermined by the actions of a few," end quote. Shivers also said that the university plans on meeting with the other suspended fraternities today to share what their investigations found.
When Bernadine Franks was 17 years old, she made a promise to her mother that she would graduate college. Now, 50 years later, she's making good on her promise. She'll graduate Saturday with a degree in social work. We have DI reporter Josie Fischels live in the newsroom to tell us about her conversation with Bernadine. Good morning, Josie.
Good morning.
So what was it like talking to her?
Talking to Bernadine was honestly just such an amazing, inspirational experience. Anyone who talks to Bernadine, like her teachers or her peers, will always say that she's so bubbly and she's honestly hilarious. Talking to her, she was making me laugh our entire interview. But during our interview, it was interesting because I kept reminding myself that I'm talking to a student, a fellow student. She's much older than I was, and she's had so much more wisdom and knowledge than I have had, but then she would turn around and she would talk about her finals and her exams and classes the same way I would talk to any of my peers.
So what made her want to graduate now in this point in her life?
She's really just fulfilling that promise that she made to her mother over 50 years ago. When she was 17, she promised her mother that she would graduate college. Obviously, things get in the way of that, but she finally came back and over the past 3 years has earned her degree.
What are some of the challenges that she has faced?
So growing up, she became pregnant when she was 14 years old. She married at 16, which is very young to start a family. And while raising a family, she really college wasn't an option at the time. She also dealt with a period of substance abuse where things were just getting difficult for her to pursue an education. But it's never too late, and here she is now. So.
And do you know of any post-grad plans for her?
Yeah, so she is going to be working at Faith Academy as a liaison. And yeah, she was working there a little before she returned to college, and now she's going back with this official title, and she says she knows so much more now than in the social work department than she ever did before.
Josie Fischels live in the newsroom, thank you.
Upcoming negotiations between the State of Iowa Board of Regents and the campaign to organize graduate students are learning graduate students without much leeway and pose an uphill battle. A few weeks ago, we talked with DI reporter Katie Ann, who pointed out only topics both the Board of Regents and COGS agree on are covered in negotiations, and we've learned only changes in wages of graduate employees will be discussed this January. Topics COGS wanted to cover, like sick leave and hours, won't be covered in negotiations, and the two parties are far apart on their stance on wage increases. COGS wants a 5% increase, and the Board of Regents are offering a 1% increase. Closed negotiations start January 16th.
Travel this holiday season with safety assured, just as long as you stay in the Midwest. The 2018 Bankrate Best State for a Driver Study puts Iowa as the number two state for drivers, taking into account safety, cost, and driving quality as the criteria. Only North Dakota beats the Hawkeye State. Stephen Spears, assistant professor in the UI School of Urban and Regional Planning, said, quote, Iowa is one of the highest spending states for roads on a per capita basis, end quote. In June, autoinsurance.org ranked Iowa drivers as the safest in the nation.
Well, Susanna, we haven't had to worry about any snow on the roads just yet, but it looks like some places in the country are.
Yeah, I hope everyone can stay safe during their holiday travels. But let's toss it over to Dylan in the weather studio to see what we have in store for us.
Thanks, Mackenzy and Susanna. You guys are completely right. The roads here in Iowa have been fairly nice to us. Now, the last couple of days, we haven't had any snow or rain or anything like that, and it's been mostly sunny skies. However, other parts of the country can't say the same. Flood threats have been issued to various parts of the country in the southern United States due to heavy showers. So if you're traveling home to the south or any area over here in the region, just be on the lookout for flooding that may or may not occur. Now, as we transition back here to Iowa City, today we have a local temperature of 32 degrees and cloudy skies. Now, as we move into tonight, we see the cloudy skies continue and our temperature increases a little bit at 34 degrees tonight. But be on the watch out for some showers thrown in the middle of our day here. Now, as we go into the extended 5-day forecast for the week, it looks like tomorrow we will also have partly cloudy skies with a high of 42 degrees and a low of 26, with a 10% chance of showers. So we're good there. Saturday, the clouds go away, and we have sunny skies with a high of 44 degrees and a low in the upper 20s. Sunday, the clouds come back as we have partly cloudy skies with a high in the mid-40s and a low in the mid-20s. Monday, we have sunny skies again with a high in the high 30s and a low in the mid-20s again. And Tuesday, we have partly cloudy skies with a high in the low 40s and a low at around 30 degrees with only a 10% chance of showers. Well, it looks like we have a very nice week coming up here weather-wise, just in time for our breaks. Guys at the desk, back to you.
Early signs of upcoming building projects reaching new heights in Iowa City were signaled by 47 city council members this week. A new development is underway to replace the Pentecrest Garden apartments at 12 East Court Street. 4 new buildings reaching 15 stories high are set to replace the apartments directly south of Voxman. But first, they have to gain permission from the city to build above 8 stories. Councilors Salil Mims, Cole, and Teague are in favor of the height, while Taylor, Thomas, and Mayor Throgmorton oppose the building. This building is scheduled to be completed by 2023.
As 2018 wraps up, DITV Arts and Culture reporter Kaylyn Kluck is in the newsroom to give us an entertainment recap for the year. Kaylyn?
Good morning. This is my last segment of the year, and what better way to close out than to look back on some of the biggest art and culture moments of 2018. So, crammed into a couple minutes, here's a look at what was big in the past 12 months. Take a look.
From the highs to the lows, the divisive to the unifying, 2018 was unpredictable and a year where our viral culture usually meant going to extreme lengths to be noticed. But sometimes the movies, TV, and music that were in the spotlight were being noticed for the right reasons. Take Marvel's Black Panther, the highest domestic grossing movie of the year. It was notable not just for its above-average production, but being the first major superhero movie with a predominantly black cast. Mega-budget superhero movies are still the industry's favorite form of security, and Marvel had an amazing year. They also had the highest grossing movie worldwide, with Avengers: Infinity War. Horror remained Hollywood's most reliable genre, with the originality of films like A Quiet Place and Hereditary making them hits. But we also can't ignore how well musical movies did this year, from summer hit Mamma Mia 2 to more recent successes Bohemian Rhapsody and A Star is Born. Another happy surprise was the box office success of romantic comedy Crazy Rich Asians, another victory in terms of on-screen representation. Audiences also fell for the Netflix teen comedy To All the Boys I've Loved Before. When it comes to the vast landscape of TV, it's harder to say who the big winners are, with streaming platforms still not releasing their viewership numbers in 2018. So instead of calling out specific shows, let's just acknowledge the dominance of streaming itself, with Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon all putting out mass amounts of original content. Disney and Apple are projected to launch their own video content streaming services next year, making it look like regular network television will never be dominant again. Over in the realm of music, 2018 made it pretty clear that rap is the biggest genre in America. Drake is the most streamed artist and has spent the most weeks at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, thanks to a 25-song album and a viral challenge. Post Malone, Travis Scott, and Cardi B also spent weeks at #1, but it was Childish Gambino's single, This Is America, that took the cultural conversation by storm with its symbolic music video. Pop music didn't exactly thrive on the charts this year, but Ariana Grande has taken over the #1 spot last minute with her new single, Thank You Next. The music video broke records for the most views in 24 hours on Vivo and YouTube.
It's a good song to end on, and that is what I could squeeze into this very short compilation. I'll see you back in 2019 with more arts and culture coverage. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Kaylyn. It sure was an exciting year for both music and movies, but you know what else is very exciting? Hawkeye basketball.
That's right, Susanna, and let's toss it over to Natalie in the sports studio to see what else she can tell us. Natalie?
That's right, guys. The Hawkeye men's basketball team is off to a hot start this season as they return to the court in the Hy-Vee Classic this weekend. With more is Taylor Van Fleet.
Finals week is seriously dragging, and it doesn't make things any easier that we haven't had any Iowa men's basketball to help push us through. The Hawks haven't played since last Thursday when they had that big win over Iowa State, but they'll finally get back on the court this Saturday when they take on another in-state opponent, Northern Iowa, in the Hy-Vee Classic. Now, UNI isn't anticipated to be a very tough matchup for Iowa, especially in comparison to the Hawks' previous opponents, but there are still some things we should look out for in Saturday's game. Redshirt senior Nicholas Baer has been red hot offensively for the Hawkeyes recently, and he has a reputation for showing out in the Hy-Vee Classic. In Iowa's last 3 games inside Wells Fargo Arena, he's averaging almost 12 points and 11 rebounds, so make sure to look out for him in his final Hy-Vee Classic. And now on to Iowa's big man, Tyler Cook. He has led the team in scoring in the last 3 games, and that includes his impressive performance against Iowa State when he finished with a game-high 26 points. And he seems to just keep getting better as the season rolls on. And another interesting note heading into the UNI game, Iowa is leading the nation in free throws made per game, averaging a whopping 24 points from the line. And like I said before, I don't think anyone is expecting UNI to be too much of a problem for Iowa this weekend. And if Iowa can keep attacking the basket and hitting their jump shots the way they have been, I don't see why they wouldn't leave Des Moines with another win. Natalie in the studio, back to you.
That game against UNI tips off at Saturday at 6 p.m. Back to you guys at the desk.
This holiday season is in full swing, and that means the post office is getting pretty busy.
That's right, Mackenzy, and we're not just talking about all the packages they are seeing, but a lot of letters to this certain man up in the North Pole.
That's right. Volunteers across the country are acting as a middleman to make sure that the wishes for these children that have written to Santa come true.
They are coming through letters to Santa Claus with hopes to spread a little holiday cheer.
I mean, that's pretty precious, and it's awesome to see all this holiday cheer come together. And, you know, with finals ending tomorrow, you know, I get to participate in that next week, so I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, it's very heartwarming. But thank you for tuning in to this Thursday morning edition of DITV. Be sure to head over to dailyiowan.com for all the latest news.
If that is enough of the Daily Iowan for you, be sure to check out the print edition of the news on stands now.
For DITV, I'm Susanna Klooster.
And I'm Mackenzy Cooper. Have a great day, Iowa City.